All right, everybody, we're going to go ahead and get started here. Welcome, welcome. For those of you who are aficionados with, music and worship in general, today we're going to be looking at a really cool topic on how to use multi-tracks in worship, but specifically using them in an app called Prime for mobile devices. So I'm going to stop this here. You guys should be able to see everything okay with my iPad screen. I've got Prime up and running here. So we're just going to jump right into it. And if you have any questions, we'll make sure to just address them as we go in the chat box. We have our team standing by to help you out with anything that you have questions about. So let's go ahead and get started. So Prime basically came about as just a more mobile version of something like Ableton Live, Mainstage, Logic, Pro Tools that a lot of guys use to either create music or playback tracks in a live performance setting. And so, when we were running a lot of this, we found that it would be really cool to have an option that's for like your mobile devices, like your iPad or your iPhone or even your iPod. And kind of have that in your pocket or your backpack when you don't have a lot of time to take all your huge rig with you. So, and we wanted something as well that was really, really easy and simple to use. And so I have what's called Prime here for the iPad. Prime is just a free app that's available in the App Store. And we're going to go over every feature that this program has to offer. And I'm currently running this on an iPad Air. And I have really no issues with this. It runs super smooth, and we're going to take a look at some great tracks and just kind of take you through the features. So if you'll notice, kind of the way this is set up is you'll see a lot of different colors, and for some of you guys that are just getting into this for the first time, into using multi-tracks, this even somewhat may look a little bit overwhelming to you, but we want this to be really, really simple. So right here on the right-hand column, you'll see that I have the set list here. This is what we call our set list. And I have a few songs. I have Lion and the Lamb, Every Praise, Hezekiah Walker. I even have a Latin track in here by Marco Barrientos. And so there's a lot of great stuff. So I'm going to play back this first track, and I'll let you see kind of what's going on with this and make sure that you can notice from start to end what the track is doing. So up top here, I have just the audio waveform at the top, and all these are different sections of the song. So right now, currently, the Lion and the Lamb is selected to play back. So let's go ahead and play that now and see what it sounds like. So you can hear our click track. The music's going.
Intro 2, 3, 4.
So it sounds really good. Cool. So this is a great track that our team, our studio team developed and did a great premium track for it on our site. You should check it out later. So all these little vertical blue bars you see on the left-hand side all these are our individual instrument stems. So right here we have our acoustic, we have the bass, we have the drums, and so on and so forth. And what's cool about these is that a multi-track, for some of you guys that are just getting into this, some of you used to use CDs or accompaniment tracks in your church services, and you'd hit it on iTunes or you'd pop the CD in and play it. And that's technically kind of what this is. The difference is you can control all the individual instruments instead of just having to push start, stop, and have a volume. And so this gives you a lot more freedom to be able to use this to control what you need for your setup. And so I can turn these off or on. See the acoustic here? This is turning the volume of the acoustic down. So let's go ahead and play this back and see kind of what it sounds like. So I'm gonna cut off some of these instruments. So I'm individually, cutting these on and off. So if I had all these people playing in my band, like I had an acoustic player, I had a bass player, a drummer, I could mute these channels and have that being played live by my musicians while the rest of the tracks are being played. So oh man, my drummer, he called in sick, I needed drums for this track. I can cut the drums on and have them being used in the track and still have that same feel like my drummer's there even though he's not. Same thing with any other instruments, and you can do this really for any of the tracks. What's cool too is that Prime knows how to automatically pan tracks left and right, and we'll get into that in a minute if you're using in-ear monitors. So what's really cool is like you have these set lists and you can just go through and set them in place. If you have several songs, what I usually do is any song that you have purchased from loopcommunity.com will show up automatically in what's in your Prime Cloud account. So if you tap right here at the bottom of the set list, there's a button called Add Songs. I'm just going to tap that, and then it'll pull up all the songs that are currently in my library. If there's a blue check next to it, it means that it's actually physically on your iOS device. It's on your phone or it's on your iPad. If there's no blue check, it means that it's in your account, but you don't have it downloaded to your actual device. And so most of these I've loaded, but I only have a few there, and so that's how I have these 6 loaded. And you see, it's the key is there, the BPMs are there. So let's go a little bit further down and talk about like this control center down in the bottom right hand corner. So overall, I have this master volume slide. So I'm going to tap on Every Praise by Hezekiah Walker, and let's seek ahead a little bit so you can hear kind of what this track is doing. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn the master volume down, and this will affect the entire volume of the track. So if this is kind of like your volume fader that you'd have on a mixer board, or you know, if you're having some guy turn it down for you in the band, this is kind of how that works. So, which is really cool. If you're going to go up, obviously you have the play pause button here underneath the master volume dial here, and then you have the stop button. The left and right arrows to the right of the stop button, are going to seek your tracks left and right. So if I tap the right arrow, it's going to go down to the next song, and I can seek back and forth, which is really nice. If I hit the edit set list button a little bit higher than that, it's going to bring up those little minus buttons, and I can actually physically remove, by tapping those, remove songs that I don't want in my set list. Also, if you tap the Edit Setlist button, you'll see in the right-hand corner of this field, all the way to the right, there's those 3 horizontal gray bars. Let's say that I wanted to rearrange my set list a little bit. I wanted to have Every Praise first. So I'm going to tap and hold that one and just drag it and drop it, and now my set list is kind of moved around. So I want maybe Cornerstone to come down here, or I want maybe to start off a little bit more ambient in my service and have like a softer intro. So I'm going to bring Good Good Father up and start off with that. And so as soon as you hit done, now your whole set list is reordered. So that's really nice. You don't have to like delete songs, re-add them, whatever. So also we have warping, a feature that kind of is big in Ableton, you know, transposing the key, transposing the BPMs. We have those available right in the app. So let's go ahead and listen to Every Praise. Let's scrub ahead a little bit to the chorus. And so you hear this song playing. Right under the Edit Setlist button is that the BPM number. So let's say I want to slow the song down. Let's go like to 95, 96. So you hear it kind of slowing down a little bit. So that's cool. And maybe the original tempo is 103. Maybe I want to speed it up. Kind of have like a really hot service. We're just going to boost this a little bit. Everybody's clapping, having a good time. So you can really set this and set it on the fly, which is great. Same thing with the key. So like now we're in C sharp. I think it's modulated. So if you go up, it'll modulate everything right there with just a tap of a button. So let's go down the original key. So it warps everything for you, rather transposes, should I say, everything. Now what's cool about this feature is that if you're transposing something using those buttons in the bottom right hand corner, it's going to transpose any tonal instrument. So here in my instrument tracks over here, Prime knows that any kind of percussive instruments that don't have any tones or intonation, it leaves those alone. So it's not gonna transpose the drums track, but it knows that the electric guitar is a tonal instrument. so it will transpose that. And so there are several tracks, and different percussive tracks, shakers and cymbals and different types of drums and toms and things like that it will not transpose. And so you don't have to worry about any of those being kind of, if you hit the transpose button up or down, then your whole track starts to sound kind of whack, because it's it's transposing all of the instruments instead of just the ones that have intonation, if that makes any sense. So right here we have our cues and click tracks. These are red and all your instrumentations are blue, and that's different because when you're using Prime, to go into your system, you just plug your audio cable into the headphone jack, and Prime knows to pan all of the blue tracks, which are your instrument tracks, to the left. To the right channel, and then your red tracks, your cues and your click, will be panned to the left channel. And so when you're going through this way into your house, you don't have to worry about the click coming through the house for everybody to hear, the click track, or everybody to hear intro 2, 3, 4. Only the band is hearing that whenever you're using an inner monitor system set up to kind of run that and do what you need to do. So there's a cool feature that we have in Prime as well. If you look to the left of the Edit Setlist button, called looping. And so let's say I'm in the chorus. I'm going to go down to, let's go to Good Good Father. And let's say I'm in the chorus here, and I'm playing through the chorus. And I want to play the chorus again. I don't want to go to the bridge just yet. As you can see, the bridge is the next section. So I'm going to hit that loop button. So you notice it jumps back and loops the chorus again. So what this does is it gives you a lot of freedom on the fly to kind of play the song how you want. I can go to, loop that certain section by pushing the loop button. Or what I could do is, if I wanted to go from the chorus here, and let's say I wanted to go straight from the chorus and go into verse 3, or I wanted to go from the chorus into the pre-chorus. While this section is playing, I'm just going to tap with my finger on the section that I want to go to. So let's go back to the chorus. I'm going to play that. And when it gets to the end, I'm going to tap on, let's go to like a down bridge here. And you can see it highlighted a little further on the song.
3, 4, 5, 6.
So now I've just jumped all those sections. Maybe you're like, I don't have time to do a song that's 8 minutes and 11 seconds. I need to do like the 4-minute version, as most of us have to do on a Sunday morning or Saturday. So it kind of, you can jump to the interlude.
Interlude 3, 4, 5, 6.
So this is a really cool feature. And when the interlude's done, you can just keep singing through this, and I can just tap on the end section at the end and really make the song your own. Or if I wanted to go back and do the chorus again, I can really just beef this up, and it'll dynamically call
Chorus,
whatever you're going to
4,
next.
5, 6.
Really, really cool. So this is a great feature, and that's section looping and section jumping. And so you're able to loop the section over and over again if you want, or jump to a different section within the song. And the audio quality is not lost, and the timing is not lost as well. And so we wanted to be able to give you that right in the app, and that's a great feature to have. One thing to the left, I was talking about panning, which is your cues and click are on your left, and your track, the blue tracks, your instruments, are on your right-hand channel. So when that splits out and goes to your board, it runs through your house or whatever you're using, inner monitors, then they don't hear the click bleeding or the cues coming back into the house. If right now, this is set to a stereo, so the click will still be in the left channel with the cues, but what it's doing is it's putting the audio, which is all the blue tracks here, in both the left and the right channels. If you hit this and it pans it, now pan's engaged to where actually now we're going to hear the track in the right and the cues in the left. So hopefully this is, you're hearing the track only in the right and the audio on the left. And so if that's the case, I'm going to turn down the cues and the click, and those should be all the way gone. If they're not, then it might just be just because they're streaming it. But if you have this, it will pan them as soon as you plug like a pair of headphones in, or put it into an audio that gets going to your house to split that. So that's what that button is for, next to the master fader button. In this set list here, some cool things. It lists all your keys, the key that you're currently in. So if I up this key to B flat, it's going to up it here in B flat. If I up it or go down to A, it's going to list it in A. So it lists it whatever it is. Same thing with the BPM. There are some little upside down triangles to the right of the BPM. You can see they're all grayed and they're pointing down. We have a feature called Auto Advance, which is really cool. So let's say you're in Good Good Father and you want to go to the end of the track, and you're not the kind of guy that has to like play the guitar or keys and wants to keep reaching over and like touching the next song to start it. You just want it to go right into the next song. So what we're going to do is we're going to tap on this little white arrow, and now you can see that it's white after I've tapped it. So if I tap it again, it goes gray. Tap it again, it's white. When it's white, it's engaged in auto advance. So let's scrub ahead to the very end of the song here. Once this goes all the way to the end, I'm not going to have to touch anything. It's going to go straight into the next track. So let's play this and let's see how it goes into
6.
So that's the end of Good Good Father. I'm not going to really touch anything, and we're just going to see it kind of go right into Every Praise by Hezekiah Walker. And he's going to start off at the beginning of the track.
Intro 2, 3, 4.
So that's really cool. Now I can do that for all these songs. I can just sit here and auto advance them all. You know, obviously I wouldn't need to do the last one because there's no song after it, but that's kind of a neat feature where you can kind of play the first song. If you're a worship team, just go straight through your set list. You don't have announcements, offering, any kind of, you know, whatever, meet and greet in between the songs. You just start the first song and go to the last. That's a great feature for you. So once you start the first track, it's kind of a set it and forget it. Let's take a look really quickly at something inside of the set list right quick. So I want to add another song. So I'm going to add a song, but I don't want it to be a song. I just want it to be a click track. Okay, so at the top here, it says add click track. So I'm going to tap add click track. And my last song in my set was Cornerstone. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm going to type in, let's say, Cornerstone click only. And then I'm going to minimize that keyboard. And I know from looking over at the right-hand side that it's 72 BPM. And that I know it's in 4/4. And so I'm going to hit done. I don't need the key because obviously it's just a click track. So now I have a blank click track. So if I play this click track, it's just going to play back that in that 4/4 time signature. Now sometimes you might need it in 2/8 or whatever, and so it's not really in 2/8. But if you need the click accented in the 1/8, you can change that down here and change the settings to whatever you need. We have a number of different time signatures that you can use, or you can up the tempo if you want it a little faster, so that when we're done playing, I'm gonna turn auto advance on. When we're done playing Good Cornerstone, excuse me, maybe I want to auto advance to the click and just kind of sing a chorus of Cornerstone at the end, but I still want it to like keep my band in time with it. So if that song is done and it's gonna advance to the click track, so now I have this click going and I want to say, okay band, we're gonna like re-highlight a chorus of Cornerstone and play it again. So Christ alone, cornerstone. So it's kind of that very ambient feel. Maybe it's just the guitar or just the keys. And so you can add click tracks and set the BPM and the time signature and get the click accent that you want to be able to put this in between however many songs. You could put a click track in between every one of these songs if you wanted, or put it at the end or beginning, and whatever you needed to do. And it just gives you the click without having to worry about any tracks. And that's nice because it still keeps your band together. So that's a great feature, is just having clicks only. I'm going to go back to Good Good Father. One thing I forgot to mention here, when you're scrubbing ahead inside of this, if you need to really see something a little more up close and personal, you can hit the plus button over in the right-hand corner, upper right-hand corner. It's plus and minus, just tap the plus. And now it gives you a close-up of all your different sections. And the scrubber is all the way to the left. So you can see it over here, you know, and that's where it's going to play from. So if I play this right here, it's going to play from that pre-chorus there. So that's kind of how that works, and that's just a little bit close up of, seeing that. Let's say that you want to, if you want to set a fade out time to these songs, and set an end time to these songs. Like this song is a great example because, like I was saying earlier, and being honest, nobody, not that I know of anyway, plays the 8-minute and 11-second version of Good Good Father by House Fires. It just probably is not going to happen in the service. Now, if the Spirit's moving, that's great, and you do your thing, nothing wrong with that. But I think that for just tangible reasons and practical reasons, most of us will probably need to do a shorter version of this song. So what you could do is, if I know that kind of right here in this setting, I see my timeline. This is the how, it says 8 minutes and 11 seconds long. And then where I'm at scrubbing in the song, wherever I let go, is where it's going to tell me where I'm at. So this is 541, that's 346, that's 702. So maybe what I wanted to do is, since I see the audio kind of getting smaller here, maybe I want to like fade out and end the song at 509 or something. So I'm going to tap in this section over here on the start and end. And now I'm going to bring up a menu that has start, end, and fade outs. So I know I want to start the track at 0, 0 because I want to start the song at the beginning of the song. But I wanted to end the song at like 511. So I'm going to just scrub down and kind of, the more you hold it down, it'll kind of quickly scrub through where you're at. So that's 509 right there. I'm going to maybe do like 510. And before it ends at 510, I want to set like maybe a 10-second fade out. So 10 seconds prior to when the timer hits 5 minutes, we should hear the audio start to fade a little bit. So by the time it hits 5:10, there's no more audio and the song is ending. And so this is a good. So I'm gonna drop that out now. Let's scrub back so that the timer up here reads 5. Let's probably put it at like 450, and we're gonna really see if it starts to fade out. So at 5 minutes, we should start hearing some type of a fade out. So now you're hearing it fade out.
3, 4, 5, 6.
Your band maybe is playing pads over that, and since we have auto advance turned on, now that it's at 5:10, it drops into the next song. So that's cool. So that's probably not a tangible place to put a fade out and auto advance into every praise, but that's just an example of how you can set up your set list for your weekend worship services and say, okay, you know what? I'm going to set this up ahead of time to where I know where the song is going to cut out, and I'm going to set a fade point there and an end point so that I can go right into the next track. And now I don't have to sing the 8-minute version. I can do a 3-minute version or whatever. And so that's a great feature to have, and that's just right up here in the top, and you can set that and always reset that to the default. You can go back up and set it out and mess with the end and fade out settings if you want. So that's really cool. So for the rest of our time, I want to talk about a couple things that are really newer features. I have one more thing to show you before we get into that really quickly, but I want to talk about 2 huge things that are part of Prime that can really revolutionize what you're doing and how you're using tracks, even in this setting on a mobile device. So before we take a look at that, in the upper left-hand corner, it says Load Set List. And this is a feature that some people don't really use a lot because they might not know that it is a thing. So kind of what I have here is, this is my setlist manager. Okay, and so the current set list that I'm in right now is Setlist. So let's say I want to create a new set list. So I'm going to name this one like Prime Webinar 1. Cool, and then hit enter. Okay, so now I have a new set list. And so anytime I want to go back to the previous set list, I can just tap on set list, which is the one I was in, and now I'm in the old set list. And so now I go to the new set list, and now I have a whole new thing that I can start from scratch on adding my tracks and however I want. So what's cool about this is, let's say a lot of you guys want to kind of save some things and have it ready. And maybe you want to plan ahead. I'm the world's worst about this. I'm not really a big planner, and I think most worship leaders, because of we are the creative individuals that we are not guys that think ahead a whole lot of times to get things done, because we're trying to juggle so many things. And so because of that, we gave you a good incentive here, should I say, to kind of look ahead and manage your set list from week to week. So let's say the first set list, you wanted to have that renamed to, like, I don't know, maybe it's like you have an Easter set list, and then you have a Good Friday set list, or you have like a Christmas Eve service and then a Christmas Day service, or you have, whatever the case may be. You can set that up, or you can set it up to where it's like, I have the May 1st service, the May 8th service, the May 15th service, and you have 3 weeks already planned out with all your tracks already there, and not having to worry about having to go and edit them and delete all the songs out of a set list, and then take that same set list, you deleted all your songs, and now you got to add new songs and all this stuff. All you can do is just set each set list for each week or whenever you're leading, and now whenever it comes time for that weekend, you just load that set list and all your songs are there. What's cool about this is any type of changes, like let's say I go to Good Father and I like mix all of my settings, so like all the blue tracks are at different levels, and then the master's here. If I go to Every Praise, they're at different levels, and so maybe I want to turn these 2 tracks off and cut some of this stuff. Whatever settings are in this track, if I go back to Good Father, it will load and save all of the settings that I previously saved. Same thing with loading a set list. So like if I go to this set list, and let's just imagine that I had 6 songs in this set list already set up. If I go back to set list and load my original set list, it's still going to save my settings on those songs that I changed for all those levels. You're not going to have to remix all those things and try to have to like jump through a bunch of hoops and figure out the settings again, the levels, and then your sound guy's like pulling his hair out because he's having to reset all the levels for every song. So all this is already preset. It saves it there, and you're good to go. So that's a really great thing that we have there, and that's using Setlist. And I encourage you guys to really utilize that, because I think that's one of those like hidden jewels inside of Prime that not a lot of guys use. Most of the time they'll take this whole set list, delete all the songs, and then go back here and add all new songs, and then have to reset every levels, instead of, I'm just going to go to a new set list and do 2 or 3 of these different set lists for all my different weeks I'm going to be leading here over the month or whatever. So that'll give you a lot more time saving, and you can do it all at one time. So that's great. So cool. So we have about a good half hour left, and what I want to do with that half hour is I want to really, really spend a lot of time talking about a couple of features and things with Prime that are just awesome. So the first one, we're going to go right into this first one, is most of you guys maybe hopefully have heard of what's called our Looptimus MIDI foot controller. Now Looptimus, basically all it is just a remote control for your feet. And you can use that remote control for your feet to push buttons on it, just like you would change the channels on a TV. You're going to push the buttons on this controller to do different things on in Prime, to start a track, to jump to a different section. You could even attach a volume, like a MIDI expression pedal, like a volume pedal, and kind of set it to master fade levels so that you can fade out your volumes, all kinds of stuff. So right here, I have a Looptimus, and attached to this I have this MIDI expression pedal. And so what's cool about this is that this is all attached and powered by my iPad. So this Looptimus right here is attached via this USB cable, which is going into a official Apple to Lightning camera connector, and it's going straight into my iPad in the Lightning port. And my power from my iPad is going through all that and powering the Looptimus here. And so just like a remote control for your TV, we have all the channels that you'll do to change the different things that you want to change. And then over here in this 1/4 inch jack, I have plugged in for this a MIDI expression pedal that I'm going to show you some cool things that we're going to do with that in just a minute. So let's kind of go right into this. So right now I'm going to kind of move this out of the way. And since Looptimus is connected, and I know that it's connected because in the top of the iPad in Prime, it says that my Looptimus is connected because it's plugged in. So if I tap on this MIDI button here in the top corner, or the top of the iPad rather, now we have like, whoa, like what is all this? Rectangles everywhere. Everything's like, what happened? How do I navigate this? So basically, just to keep it really simple, is that anything in this that you see that's in a rectangle is mappable to a button on this controller. So any one of these rectangles can be mapped to a button on this controller. So let's say if I wanted to have Good Good Fathers and I wanted to use a button on this controller to start this song, I could map this button to the button on the Looptimus. And so that's what we're going to do now. So I have, I'm going to tap that rectangle for Good Good Father. And now you see it highlighted in blue. And then what I'm going to do is going to press the first button. And now you'll see a MIDI note in the value spot of that rectangle. So now what is assigned is it's saying that this MIDI note that was sent from this controller, again, this is a remote controller, it's sending it through to my iPad and assigning that MIDI note to that value to start the song. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go to the next one, and I'm going to just set this up in on channel 1 here, or in bank 1, to be the first 6 songs are going to be our first 6 buttons are going to be song 1, song 2, song 3, and so on and so forth. So here's song 2. Just going to keep going. Song 3, song 4, song 5, and then my last one, I'm going to have it play the click. Okay. So when we're done with all of this, I'm gonna at the top you'll see right where it says Looptimus connected. It'll say erase default MIDI. So if I tap MIDI, it's gonna save it and exit it and go back into our system. But always make sure to set up your global stop button, which you'll see down here is your stop and play. So what you want to always do is make sure that you're mapping your stop to the stop, which is right here. It says stop. So I'm gonna hit that. And then if I hit MIDI, it'll save it and exit. Now we're going to go back into our actual set list. So now what happens if I hit this button, it's going to start playing
3, 4, 5, 6.
my first song, which is really cool. I didn't have to press anything on the actual iPad itself. All I had to do was use the foot controller. And again, you know, these aren't my feet. I don't have incredibly like long toes, so I don't want that to freak anybody out. I have this up here so I can just show you. Most guys will put this down here by their feet, and they'll just use these as triggers to stomp on. A lot of guys, what they'll do is they'll put this onto their electric pedal board setup, or they'll give this to their drummer and have their drummer run tracks, or if their keyboard player runs tracks, he'll have this on his like rig up by his keys.
3, 4,
And so
5, 6.
what this does is it allows you to be hands-free. Because if I'm a guitar player, and so if I'm playing the acoustic and I'm leading, it's hard for me to stop what I'm doing and reach over and touch a button and then go back, and you know, I can't section jump and section loop and do all this other stuff that I want to do if my hands are having to be on the guitar to play it. So this is why we made this available, so that you're kind of utilizing your feet too. So we want to push you guys to be musicians, and you know, worship leaders, you can't just look pretty up there on stage. You actually have to, like, you know, use all the limbs God gave you. So that's why we have this. So let's do something cool. I'm gonna start the next track, which is Every Praise. And one thing I forgot to do is let's map the volume pedal now. So the expression pedal that's going to do a volume. Let's say we want to set a fade out. So I'm going to hit that same MIDI button up here to set some more values from a MIDI. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tap this. I want to tap this master. There you can see it highlighted there. And now, when I move this, it's going to set my value. So now you see this is filled in with a note. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is hit MIDI to save and exit. And now I'm going to start the same song. So now you see what I'm going to do here is
Intro,
pretty
2,
cool.
3, 4.
You'll see the master fader go down, or you'll hear the master volume go down when I begin to lower this. So that's pretty cool. I can build it back up again. So that you can use this too to kind of set, I'm going to do it again. So I can really set this however I want to really calibrate this and get it all the way down. Or I can pull it all the way up. So that gives you an option for master fading. And what's a good feature for this is, let's say you are playing the 11-minute version of Oceans or something, and you're like, okay, I'm on my 18,000th bridge and I want to just kind of fade out, and I don't want to preset everything, I just want to go into the next song. So if you're playing and you're getting to the end of the section, I'm just gonna slowly fade and then have the band play over that with pads or something, and so it goes right in there, and then you're into the next song. And you can kind of hit this button when you're faded out, hit the next button and go right into the next song. And once this is good, you can fade this back in, have full volume, and you're ready to go. Kind of a really cool feature.
Intro, 2,
so
3, 4.
Let's do something a little bit different. Oh yeah, I turned all these tracks off. This is an awesome track. So let's go ahead and stop this track, and I want to set this up a little differently. To instead of playing songs in our set list, we're going to map it to the sections in our set list. And let's go ahead and use The Lion and the Lamb by Bethel, which this is a great premium track that our studio had put in place, and they did a great job on it. So let's use this and set this up. So again, we're going to go to MIDI. And so some of our values are already in place. What the cool thing about the Looptimus is that it has a bunch of different song banks or pages that's on it. It has 20. So right now this says 01C. So I'm in bank 1, and currently C is the last button that was pressed. It was the last MIDI note that was sent through this controller. So if I go over here to next, then now I have a whole new song bank with 6 buttons that I can use for something else, which is what we're going to use on this song. So now that I'm in bank 2, we're going to go over here and hit MIDI again, and now I have these rectangles again. So let's go ahead and put them as the song sections. So the first one I'm going to do is the start. The second one I'm going to do is I'm going to go to verse, and then we're going to do the chorus, and then maybe we'll do like a bridge up here, and then I want to do a bigger bridge, and then we'll go to the outro. How does that sound? Alright, so now those are mapped. I'm going to hit MIDI to save and exit. So now this song bank number 2 is for The Lion and the Lamb. And so what I'm going to do now is press 1. Cool, so now we're at the start. Go right into the verse.
2, 3, 4.
So you can really jump around with this. I know the chorus is next, but again, if I didn't want to jump to the chorus and I wanted to go to a down bridge or something first, I could do that. And I just press this. It calls the bridge.
4.
Who can stop the Lord Almighty? Who can stop the Lord Almighty? Really cool. So I'm gonna go after this. I don't want to go to the big bridge. I just want to have like, hey, who can stop the Lord? Hey, let's just sing that again.
3, 4.
Oh, who can stop the Lord Almighty? This is just a great feature. And I can jump around with this all day, get really creative, you know, do whatever I want. If I'm here and I'm like, oh no, I don't want to go to the bridge, it'll call out whatever you pressed next.
2, 3, 4.
Whatever was highlighted is what it's going to go to. So that's a great feature to be able to use. So I'm going to stop that, and the master fader again works with that for volume. And I have now set this up and showed you examples of how you can do MIDI mapping for the Looptimus to be in your set list, like 1 button per song, or what we just saw is 1 button per section, and that's really cool. So that's basically using the Looptimus with Prime and using, for volume for different sections and things of that nature. If you don't have one of these, you can check it out on our website. You can go to looptimus.com, loopcommunity.com, and check out and see the Looptimus and kind of get more information on what this is, how it works. And there's a whole bunch of different things that this can do outside of using it with Prime. It also works with like Ableton Live or any other big major DAW like Pro Tools or Logic or whatever. And so now that we have that out of the way, I want to talk about something else that's really, really cool in the time we have left. And this is a brand new feature that we brought to Prime probably, oh man, probably maybe a month ago, if not longer. And so it's still super new, and people are loving it and using it. I know I've used it a couple times, and it's amazing. And so that is called custom section markers. So for a long time now, in loopcommunity.com, what we've had here, and this is our homepage on your dashboard. So for a long time, we've allowed people to upload their own custom audio to use in Prime. So I tapped upload, or clicked upload rather, and I'm presented with this, and I'm going to click on the black Prime logo, and I'm given some instructions on how to do this. And so usually if you're in like Ableton or Pro Tools, for people that have created your own audio, like, oh, I recorded my own version of 10,000 Reasons by Matt Redman, and it's in Logic, and so I bounced out those stems, and now I have my instruments, drums, keys, guitars, and I want to upload that, my own recorded audio, to Prime and use it in Prime. How can I do that? So once you did that, you zip up your audio that you exported from your music software, and then you're going to add click tracks and cues in there if you guys have ever done this before. It doesn't have to be, it could be just like an MP3 or something if you wanted that to happen too. But we really recommend waves, and I'll tell you why in a minute. And so once you do this, then we're going to automatically convert that and kind of put it in Prime for you and email you when it's ready. And it's going to go into what we call the Prime Cloud, which is in your account, the storage that you have to put all of your custom audio there. And what you're going to get is all your audio. So once I have all this ready, I'm going to say, okay, I'm ready to go. I'm going to upload tracks. And you're going to go to this page. And so these are just some small requirements. If you're going to use section markers within your song, we really recommend that you use waves. And the reason why is because all the audio quality is a lot better, and your when it lines up in the grid in Prime, it's just going to be more precise. When you're back in here kind of seeing where these changes take place, where it goes from this red to the blue, it's going to be more precise. So that's why we recommend you using waves, because the audio quality and the timing quality is the best. And so right here, you're going to choose your file, and you'll drop your zip folder in there. Make sure it's something other than archive.zip. A lot of times guys will try to upload custom audio, and they don't rename the file. They just zip up their stems and they leave it like that, and they upload and say, oh, why is my stuff not showing up in Prime? And it's because it needs to be a very unique file name. It could be 10,000 Reasons or whatever the song is, Johnny's Worship Song or whatever, but it just needs to be something unique. And you have all your guidelines kind of over here on how to rename some things, and you'll put your information in here, the song title, who the original artist was, the key and the BPM, and then once you have these filled in and this is here, you'll click upload. There'll be a blue bar that starts to load the audio. When it gets all the way to 100, you'll see it here, and then you'll hit click submit. That's another thing too, just a minor note. When you load your file here and click upload, make sure that it all the way finishes loading in blue before you click submit. If not, you're not going to get the full thing, and then you're going to wonder, well, where's my track? I hit submit, but you didn't give it time to fully upload to the server, so you need to wait for it to upload and then click submit, and then you'll be good. Okay, once that's done, you'll get an email. And so when you get that email saying, hey, your upload is being processed and then now it's ready in Prime, you're going to go back to Prime and tap on Add Songs. and let's say 10,000 Reasons was the song you uploaded, you're going to see it here as a green song, but it's not going to have a blue check next to it, obviously, because you just uploaded it and you need to download it to Prime. So you're just going to tap on it, and then when you tap on it, it's going to show up here in your set list and load for you. So I've kind of already pre-done one of these, and this is one of Loop Community's premium tracks that was re-recorded in our studios to match the original recording as close as we could to Hillsong Worship. And so this is Cornerstone, and so I'm going to play this for you now.
Intro, 2, 3, 4.
So the one thing you'll notice about this track, it sounds really great. I have all my instrument stems here. I have my click and my cues. I'm able to, change the BPM. I'm able to change the key. But the one thing I can't really do right now is I can't loop anything. If you'll notice that this is grayed out. And so why? Like, why is all the audio grayed out here? Well, there's no sections that are mapped. And this is one of the things that when you're uploading custom audio, we wanted you to be able to set your own markers where you wanted to have them. And so that's why we came up with a custom section marker. So I'm going to show you really quickly how to do this in about the 13 to 15 minutes we have left. So up here, there's a button called markers. Okay, and right to the right of it, there's this info pane button. So I'm going to tap on the info pane, and it's going to bring up some general information on how to add these yourself. So if you get kind of lost and forget, okay, well, how do I upload these section markers? I'm kind of lost and I forget how to do this. Here's like a little just info pane that you can just go to and have a quick kind of legend to remember how to do this quickly. So I'm going to take you through a couple things and show you how to do this an easy way and then how to do this a fast way. So what I did there is I hit markers and it brought this up. So now it's snapped all the audio to a grid. It's matched it to a grid. It's kind of zoomed in. So remember that button on the right hand side, the plus button. I'm going to tap that and zoom in. And now I can see all my individual beats. So the solid vertical bars are all measures, and the thin vertical bars are all my beats within that measure. So I know this song is in 4/4, and so that it's just going to go through and play. And now I can see every measure and every beat within that measure. So now here comes the part that can be daunting, especially if you have a song that's 7 minutes. So we're just going to go through and play the song, and I want to see where my markers fall. Okay, so we're going to start here.
Intro, 2, 3.
Okay, so right there, I heard my intro being called, so I know it starts here. And a little bit, you can see the audio wave a little bit bigger, and that's how I know the first downbeat is really going to match up to it after even I've listened to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to double tap right here on this solid vertical bar, and it's going to bring this up. Okay, and it said intro, so now I'm just going to scroll down to the intro. I'm going to hit done, and boom. Now the intro is set. Okay, and again, you can scrub in the song wherever you want, and this is where your scrub point ends or is. So if I'm down here, this is where it's going to play. If I want to play it ahead, I need to scrub forward a little bit. So that kind of gives you an idea. So we can keep doing that. I'm going to zoom back out, scrub ahead a little bit, and play a little bit further to see what the next section would be. This is still the intro. I think a verse is coming soon.
Verse.
There it is.
2,
All right, so I'm going to go back, and I know the verse was at this point right here. So I'm going to double tap that, and then I'm going to go down till I see verse 1. Hit done, and there's my verse. And I can always double check that. Verse. So I actually set this a little bit too far ahead. So what I can do is like, oh, I made a boo-boo. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tap just this once with my finger on the white dot, and I'm going to scrub it back and set it here. Now as soon as I raise my finger, it's going to snap the intro right to that. So there's no having to delete it and re-add it. It's just a drag and drop, and it's easy. And so now when I go back out, should be verse
2, 3, 4.
My hope is built on nothing less. Perfect. And that's what I want. So we can just keep going through with this all day long. Let's say that your sections are like, oh man, I got the verse and the introduction, backwards or something for some reason. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this over, and it's going to flip them. So if I drag it again, it's going to go back in place. So I want to set the intro a little bit later, and then drag the verse here. I can do that. Or I can drag it back over, and it's going to flip the position of my intro and my verse to where it's supposed to be. So you can really try and mess this up, but it's going to snap whatever it is, and it's really easy to fix as long as you drag and drop with these white dots. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the really quick way to add these, probably the easiest way to add these. What I usually do is anytime I'm going to go ahead and let this play. I'm just going to add a bunch of markers here. By double tapping, I'm going to stop the audio, and I don't really care what these are. Maybe this is a chorus and a bridge, and I'm just going to go through and add a bunch of them. I don't really know where these are. I'm just guessing based on where the audio is set up. Okay, so if we go through here now and scrub ahead,
Verse 2, 3, 4.
Boom. Now I know that's where the verse was called, so that's verse 2. So now we can scrub ahead a little bit. There's a chorus. 3, 4. So now there's the chorus. I'm going to double tap on that, move it to chorus. So now it's going to go a lot quicker when you're adding your things, and it's not a tedious thing to have to go in and drop them. I know probably another one's coming right here because I can see the audio get larger here.
Turnaround.
So that's a turnaround.
3, 4.
Turn.
Verse.
There's another verse.
3, 4.
And again, you can always zoom in on these to, really see what's going on here if you want. So that's a really quick way to add them. So once you're done with all that, now let's say that I just added up for sake of time. I have all my sections added. I'm going to hit the save button above that, and it's going to save all my sections right where they are. It might take a minute because it does have to save that, and it does save it inside of the server for your Prime account. So if you have someone else that's attached using, you guys are using the same account or whatever, and they're using this song, it's going to save the changes whether you're in this device or the other device. So if you download this song that you uploaded to your other device, let's say you have a second iPad or something for another campus or whatever, you're not going to have to go back in there and reset all these markers again. It's going to save it here on this device. It's going to save it the same way on the other device when you load it. So let's say, this is only halfway done because I had to go to a meeting or my wife called and it's an emergency. I'm going to go back later and hit the markers again, and now I can continue my work. Or I can hit clear and wipe this whole thing clean and start all over again. And so that's kind of a really cool feature to be able to have these custom section markers. And now what you'll notice is that now that these section markers are put in, now I'm going to be able to map all these to my MIDI, and I'm also going to be able to loop them whenever I start a section. So let's go to the verse here, and now you see that loop is enabled. So now I can loop this section, and now it's like a fully customized track that I can jump around, loop around. I can control it over here with my Looptimus if I wanted to, and map those sections and use them with a foot controller. So, and it works just the same as if a purchase track that you got from Loop Community. So that's a really cool feature, and we just wanted to be able to kind of introduce that to you guys and kind of do a really quick run through of using custom section markers in Prime. And for you to be able to upload your own audio and to be able to have that and use it in Prime, and have a great way to be able to run your tracks and set custom markers and jump around using a foot controller, or all sorts of things. We're just broadening this for you so that anybody can use it however you want to use it. And so that's pretty much Prime in a nutshell, from start to finish. All your tracks, muting them, soloing them, faders, adding songs, section markers, transposing the key, making it slower or faster, looping sections and jumping, custom uploading your own audio, setting fade out points and end points, auto advancing to the next song without having to push anything. There's just a whole lot of features that are in this. And so I would really just push you guys as much as possible. Just try this out. Go to the iOS App Store for Apple, the App Store, and download this to your iPad, your iPhone, your iPod, and do it for free. Now, I will say that in the iPad, currently the iPad is the only iOS device that supports being able to section jump and section loop. But we hope to bring that eventually to the phone and iPod, so that if you guys want to use an iPhone or you don't have an iPad, that you'll be able to use that there as well. And so real quick, that's just kind of have where I have it set up here. If you're wondering what it looks like or how do I get there in the App Store, just go to the App Store and type in Loop Community Prime, and this is the icon that will show up, and you can download that right to your phone or to your iPad, whatever iOS device you have. That's pretty much it, guys. I love the fact that you all showed up. I know you may have a ton of questions, and our team is doing really well to take care of those. And so in the few minutes that we have left, if you have any questions, just type them in the chat box. We'll get to you as soon as possible. If you have something that's a little more serious and you want to kind of have a deeper conversation or whatever, go ahead and send us an email at support@loopcommunity.com. And our customer support team will be right with you to take care of any needs that you have or any questions that you have. Here is the link right here, like I said, for the app to download that. What we'd love also, if you guys are already using this, or if you want to use it, go to your account in the App Store and leave us a great review for Prime. We would love to have feedback and love to have a great review and to see what you guys think, what features should be added next, how you guys are using it, how you guys are loving it. And if you're using it on your iPad or iPhone and you have a Looptimus like this, we would love for you to be able to snag a photo of that and just tag us at Loop Community and just post it on Instagram. And we'd love to see how you guys are using Looptimus, or how you're using Prime, and how it's kind of changing your lives as far as your worship setting. And we hope you guys are enjoying it as much as we do, and that's why we brought it to you. So thank you guys so much for kind of signing in and just viewing this and being a part of this webinar today. If you have any questions, again, type them in the chat box or send us an email at support@loopcommunity.com. I'm just going to kind of let this go with the lion and the lamb one more time as we exit out, and we'll see you guys next time. Thanks so much.
Intro to